Hello everybody, it's Julia here from the Highly Sensitive Tarot, and I'm back today with, I think this is week 8 of my Drop 'em 78 Tarot Challenge for 2024, and we're getting there. I think today my card is the Emperor, but we start this video at the end of last week, last Sunday, which was the 8th of December, with the Queen of Swords. And if you've been following my videos, you'll know that throughout the course actually of these 8 weeks I've been having some quite difficult times, some quite emotional times, some quite difficult times. It's been a bit of a roller coaster really, but I really hope that the energies are going to start to calm down now and feel quite a lot better, because I've made some big changes in my life. And it's actually been really interesting to document that journey through this Drop 'em 78 challenge, because, you know, normally when you're going through difficult times you pull a few cards and you could get all sorts of different cards, but obviously I'm getting a very set card every day to reflect on, and it's been quite interesting how some of these cards have fallen so spectacularly accurately on certain days, really, to reflect certain issues and energies that are around. It's been really interesting. But anyway, starting with the Queen of Swords for Sunday, my definition for the Queen of Swords is honesty, logic, a sharp mind, being strong-willed but straightforward and straight to the point, really. I think the Queen of Swords likes to be alone. She can be described as the widow of the queens. I've seen cards of her following a coffin, I think, of her husband, the King of Swords. So she's somebody that likes the quiet, simple life. She likes to be alone. I think she's very much an energy of take me as I am. And she reflects that mastery of self, really, in a lot of ways. The detail of this card is that this is a falcon here in the Goliath deck. It's the Baroque Queen, and she's got this sort of elaborate sort of headdress or mask. I don't really know what that is. All these chains and things sort of going across where her beak is, and I've just written her sharp beak is covered, but it's still there. And I think that might be how the Queen of Swords can be sometimes, in that she won't reveal that sharpness immediately, but it's there. It's very definitely there. My comparison and my discovery with the Curious Travels deck, I've just written that the butterflies around her represent that sort of transformational process, I think, of the Queen of Swords, that she's open and receptive. She's not a closed energy, but she's also not afraid to sort of execute her judgment of anything. You know, you can see by her hand being open there and the sword being upright with the crown that she is open, but she's open to casting her judgment. It's what she's open to. And I like how she's got her ankles, her feet crossed at the ankles here, because this is a very regal pose, isn't it? I remember reading it about our royal family in the UK, about the Queen, that she would never cross her legs at the knees. It's always at the ankles. It's a much more dignified pose, I think, than crossing your legs at the knees. So, and how I reflected this on my day was, I've just written, really, there was a much more peaceful day mentally for myself, because obviously we're talking about swords here and thought processes. And I did actually, excuse me, as per usual on a Sunday morning, I've got a frog in my throat. I did write that I felt better to be in my head and not in my heart on this day, because I've spent a lot of time in my heart energy just recently, and I think I spent a lot of this day, Sunday, just working out what I want and what I need, and I felt a lot calmer for that. So it was a good day, Sunday. So for Monday, we've got the King of Swords. This is the father of the night. And my definition of the King of Swords is he's about integrity and morality. He's a deep thinker, a truth seeker, a judge, a ruler, a father. He's much more detached, I think, than the Queen of Swords somehow. He's big on ethics, has high standards, he likes rules and boundaries, really likes to see all angles of an issue, and is really very much a defender of truth, just like the Queen of Swords. The detail in this card, again, this is quite a difficult card to look at. There are some quite difficult cards in this deck. But I've just written here really that this owl didn't miss much, did it? It doesn't miss much. It would have caught this mouse with such speed and accuracy that mouse wouldn't have stood a chance, really, would it? So it would have been very precise, this owl. And I think that that's how the judgment would fall with the King of Swords and the Queen of Swords, to be honest, is that their judgment would fall with speed and accuracy and would be very precise. So my comparison and discovery with the Curious Travels deck is that I've written, just like the Queen here, he relies on his intellect when making decisions, and he's sat in a very similar pose to the Queen here. We just don't have those, we just don't have the butterflies, do we? And he doesn't cross his legs like the Queen, but we've still got that very open pose with the sword. The King here has got what might be a crescent moon there. I didn't write anything about that. Let's have a quick look in the book and see if it mentions anything about that, because that does look like a crescent moon, doesn't it? The crescent moon loops around his neck, alluding to the divine energy guiding him as he leads. Yeah, you would have thought the Queen would have had that also, wouldn't you? It's often a very feminine thing to have a crescent moon. But yeah, and I quite like the owl for this card, although it's quite a harsh image there. And I quite liked the Queen of Swords, the birds. I do very much see birds as being a sword's energy, especially for the court cards. And my day, how I reflected upon my day with this card is I've again spent quite a lot of time in my head today trying to see the sense in things, trying to detach from emotions, and have good boundaries around a situation. I think when you go through difficult things, it's really important to process those emotions, but I don't know about you, but with myself sometimes those emotions can take on a sort of obsessional quality where I ruminate and become too preoccupied by those things. So sometimes it's very important for me to take a step back and detach myself from those and sit in my logic and my thinking head for a while. And so that was what I spent quite a lot of time doing at the beginning of the week. So that was Monday. And then I was very pleased to move into the majors, especially with the Fool, because it's a new start, isn't it? So this was Tuesday, and my definition of the Fool I've got here, this is the eternal vagabond, bless. And I've just put innocence, trust, new adventures, freedom, seeking new beginnings, having a beginner's mind, beginner's luck, This could be new relationships. It's about trusting your heart, feeling carefree. It can be about your inner child, a new phase. There's an excitement about the Fool, isn't there? A carefreeness and an excitement about the Fool. And I just wrote really for the detail of this card. I just love the look on his face, this little mouse here, this just sheer abandon on his little face. He's just thrown himself off this cliff and has just completely given in to it, hasn't he? It's like there's no ego or care there. And you know, that really made me think actually about how long it is since I felt that way, where I felt no care, where I've abandoned myself to something. I suppose as we grow older, it's not something that we feel that often, is it? It's a very childlike energy. And I suppose I like to keep my life quite simple and quite calm if I do. So perhaps I miss out on opportunities. The discovery of this card, we've got this in the Curious Travels deck here. We've got this monkey with the sun behind him. And it's like the monkey is just dreaming, isn't he? He's seen something that he wants and he's oblivious to the danger and the crocodile underneath him. He just wants what he wants, doesn't he? There's no real thought given to this action. He's just launched himself out of the tree to reach for what he wants. So that's, again, it's about trusting your heart and having that luck, I suppose. That'd be luck for the monkey that he doesn't get grabbed by the crocodile. But yeah, I like both of these cards actually. I very much like the mouse here. That's gorgeous. If that was, I mean, I do very much like colour in my tarot cards, to be honest. And I think if this Fool here was colourised, and he had a lovely bright blue sky there and his little ribbon and everything, I think that would be a gorgeous card. How I reflected this about my day. Well, I thought, like I said, I thought about this card a lot today. This was Tuesday. I associate it with feeling young and carefree and feeling like I really haven't felt that way for a long time. Not really in any kind of sad way, but just, I suppose it's in a sort of more accepting sort of way that, you know, we can get caught up in life and that's not anybody's fault, is it? It's just the way that things are. But I've written a fresh start is needed for myself, very definitely. And I would like to think that it would be filled with a little bit more of this carefree, sort of trusting energy with some excitement. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice? So for Wednesday, we've got the Magician. This is such a cool card. This is obviously Mercury, isn't it? This is the alchemical master. My definition of this is resourcefulness, opportunity, influence, manipulation, talent, skill, manifestation skills, having conscious action, personal power, strength of will, directed potential, the ability to transform yourself and others and other things. The detail of this card, I've written here, this shaman. It's like he's in a trance, you know, there's like a fog, like, it sort of looks foggy and blurry across his eyes. This Black Panther, he just looks like he's in a dream world or in a trance with that. And you can see all around him, although there's the smoke from his pipe, we can see all around him there's this sort of energy flowing around him, this spiritual energy. And there's a calm sort of focus about him. It's a beautiful card, actually, this Magician. I do like that very much. The Discovery card from the Curious Travels, I suppose this is more traditional. We see the different elements. He's got his wand there. There's pentacles, there's cups. I don't know whether there's a sword. But we've very definitely got that as above, so below energy going on there, haven't we? With the tree reaching up and his wand pointing down. And it's like he gains his power from the earth and the sky. It's sort of spiritual and material, isn't it? And I suppose we kind of see that here with the Black Panther, don't we? Because he's a creature of the earth. But he's got all this ethereal energy going on around him as well. He's definitely in a different place, isn't he? He's not just of the earth. So how I reflected on my day with this card is what have I put here? Sorry, I've written quite a lot actually. And I don't always read out everything that I've written because some of it is just too personal. But I thought about this card a lot today, and it was not as calm a day, really. I don't think Wednesday. I felt quite overwhelmed and tired. But I was reflecting on this energy quite a lot, of thinking about being the master of your own ship, if you like, being here to create and grow, and about what it means to have that personal power and to feel powerful in yourself. Because I think the things that have happened in my life recently have left me feeling quite disempowered, and it's an energy that I would like to get back, to be honest, because I've always been quite an independent person and felt like I was master of my own destiny, or mistress of my own destiny. And I've always felt that I was in touch with the earth and spirit at the same time, and all of those things. And I think I've just lost my way a bit recently. A combination of a lot of things, some things that were just part of life and some things that were trickier and more difficult. But I thought about this energy a lot today, and how to not be feeling disempowered, and how to what do I want to say? How to recognize again that I have got all that I need to manifest all that I need in life. I just need to have some focus and some direction, and to take those things out of my unconscious or my subconscious and make them conscious, like this card is encouraging you. That's where the transformation comes from, isn't it? And that's, again, it's about seeing the opportunities around you, as I was talking about in the Fool card, that this is about opportunities, isn't it? About taking opportunities. So yeah, it was a more difficult day, Wednesday. And then we move into Thursday with this beautiful High Priestess. And for the definition, I've written, this is the crescent moon cat. Obviously, this is moon energy, isn't it? Witch energy. And I've written, this is the subconscious. This is mystery and sacred knowledge, intuition, inner knowing, the divine feminine, being sensitive, the empath. This is to do with the third eye in chakras, being wide awake and seeing what needs to be seen, and sometimes seeing what others do not. And the detail of this card, I've just written the third eye chakra with the crescent moon there in the middle of the Sphinx cat's face, and I just thought, what a great animal, what a great cat to choose for this card, a sphinx. It's got its all its Egyptian symbols there, and yeah, we've got the moon, we've got there's two trees here, I think, which are like the two pillars. I mean, it's a really good card. The discovery with this card, with the Curious Travels, well, she's holding a pomegranate here. She's veiled. I think the pomegranate represents that sort of divine feminine, doesn't it? Fertility, as does the crescent moon, represents divine feminine, I think. And like I said, her face is hidden. So it's like she's a conduit, really, isn't she, between conscious and subconscious. And as I was looking at this card, she just reminded me really of the Red Witch, Melisandre, in Game of Thrones. You know, she was a fire witch, wasn't she? And I don't necessarily associate red with the High Priestess. I would more associate water and blue, perhaps, with the High Priestess. But it's interesting, and I'm not really sure what the sort of pillars with they look like some weird sort of bit of garden equipment. I'm not sure what those things are either side of the High Priestess in this card, but they're both really cool cards, aren't they? And how I compared this, you know, reflected upon this for that day, I'd just sort of written, what do I know today? What do I know, in capital letters, know? And it was a difficult day, actually, because it was a real day of endings. Something happened, and yeah, I don't really want to say particularly what it was. But yeah, there was in realizing something, in having that insight and realizing something, having that inner knowing, I guess, there was a real wave of emotion that passed through me. It really like welled up inside me. But instead of being scared by it, I allowed it to pass through me. And really, it was because I knew that it was the right thing, what was happening. I knew that it was the right thing. And so it almost felt good and healthy that this emotion came up, and I felt it and I let it go. That felt good, I think. Yeah. So yeah, that was Thursday. And then Friday, this beautiful Empress here. Well, this one is beautiful. So my definition for the Empress, this is the alchemical mother. And I've written fertility, femininity, mother, beauty, earth witch, creative endeavours. This is Venus. This is security, care, love, harmony, abundance, taking care of people, taking care of yourself, having maternal instincts, fertility, but also grace. And the detail of this card is like it's an X-ray, isn't it? Like you can see inside this peacock here. So we can see the creation of this baby inside this peacock here. But if I'm honest, I don't like this as a card. The thing I really don't like is I don't like the feet. They're horrid, aren't they? I don't mind the rest of the skeleton, and you know, we can see feathers and everything there. I don't mind the rest of that. I don't even mind seeing the baby inside, but I don't like those feet. I didn't like that. I just think the Empress is beautiful. You should not see anything ugly in the Empress card. So my discovery with the Curious Travels is that she's just so beautiful. I mean, look at her. I love this lovely soft colours. I like her pregnant belly. I like the wheat growing. I like the pomegranate, the pregnant belly full of potential, the wheat or the corn representing fertility, the stars on her face, the sort of 12 stars, I think, isn't it? Representing perhaps the 12 months of the year, the cycles of the year. It's a beautiful card, actually, that. And with my day, I had a Christmas meal out with family on this day, on the Friday the 13th of December. So yeah, I had a Christmas meal out with family, and it was lovely, actually. My mum's still really not very well, and she's still got some things coming up. My dad's not very well either. They're both struggling with quite a lot of things, and I did really feel for them, I guess, on that day. And it was a tiring day for them to come out and, eat a big meal. And we all came back round mine, and then my dad drove them home. So it was a lot, really, for my mum and dad, and they were exhausted. And but yeah, other than that, it's hard to sort of reflect on this energy for the day. Obviously, that mother energy around, I felt somewhat protective of my mum and dad, and I'm sure that they do me still. But yeah, it was a lovely day, and I'm glad that we went out. Yeah. So that was Friday, and then we're up to Saturday, which I got to the end. The book that I've been using, The Empress, was my last page in the book, so I had to actually start another book, which is I didn't have another nice book, but I had just a little plain exercise book, so I've had to start that, which is a shame. I thought I had enough pages in my other book to get it all in, but no. So for yesterday, which was Saturday, the 14th of December, we've got the Emperor, and this is obviously Aries, isn't it? This is fire and Mars and the ruling father. And my definition for this card is authority, structure, leadership, having control of the physical world, manifesting and making shape and form of things, being a logical thinker, being head of the household. There can sometimes be big egos around with the Emperor, but he's a defender of his territory and his family, someone who'd rather go down in flames than not try at all. It's all about personal power. So the detail in this card here with this, I don't know, is he an antelope perhaps? It's a strange looking sort of creature here, isn't it? I'm not sure if these are wings. I'm not sure what all of this is. There's spears at the back of him. He's got his horns. There's a chain here. But the detail that I just sort of noticed really was the ram's horns here in sort of like part of this necklace. Maybe this is like a cloak of these feathers and this horn and everything. Maybe it's like a big cloak. But obviously the ram's horns represent Aries, don't they? But that was about all that I sort of saw in that card. And I liked his sort of dignified face. He looks kind of stern, and he's got his little hands crossed there. He looks stern and in control and in charge, doesn't he? Like he's he just looks in charge, doesn't he? So the discovery of this with the Curious Travels deck here, we've got that Aries skull, haven't we, with the horns again. We've got an ankh around his neck, which I think it which to me, I think that represents sort of an emblem for life, doesn't it? That connects him to the earth. It's around his neck and it's touching the ground. It's connecting him to the earth. He's got the world in his hand. It's a very powerful energy, isn't it? And it just made me think about the Emperor energy generally, that if it's not a mature energy, it can be really rigid and close-minded and domineering and ruthless. And I've had some of that energy in my life recently, somebody that had a lot of this Emperor energy floating around, but not in a mature way. I think that Emperors in shadow, they will project their shortcomings onto others, and they don't take accountability for their decisions, because really that Emperor energy should be about making good, healthy decisions. But yeah, I've had some of that energy around recently, and it can be extremely rigid and closed-minded and very selfish energy. But how I reflected upon this in my day was that I went out for lunch with a friend, and I was thinking about, am I going to be meeting the Emperor energy today out for lunch? And it's funny because the person that I met, they are an ex-RAF officer. So they are somebody with definitely some Emperor energy in them. They're able to, they would have had that leadership and that authority and that structure in their life. And, obviously working for the military in any form means that you're a defender, aren't you? You're a defender of the realm, of people, of the king, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, so it's interesting. But this person has such a silly side around them, such a silly sense of humour, and I think very much operates from their maturity. Like I said, I'm sure that underneath that there's a lot of authority and leadership, and that they're capable of that logic and good decisions. But I think they, in their ordinary life, they operate from a much lighter place. And this person had a lot of silly humour, which I very much appreciated. So yeah, that was interesting, actually. It was interesting what that made me think about that day, really, because like I said, over the last few months, I've very definitely had some of the Emperor in shadow energy in my life in a certain relationship, and that energy is not nice. It's quite ruthless, and it makes for a very one-sided relationship. Yeah, never, if a person never takes accountability for their actions, then they're always going to project those things onto other people, aren't they? And blame other people for things, and never look at themselves. And therefore they're not going to be capable of making good decisions in life, are they? That's just how it is. If you always think that you're right, well, you can't always be right, can you? It's impossible. So, having the ability to self-reflect and be self-aware and take accountability and be responsible, they would all be very important things, wouldn't they? But anyway, I think I've ended the week on a much more positive note than I did last week, so that's a really good thing. And for Sunday, for tomorrow, we've got the Hierophant, haven't we? So that figures. That's a good card for a Sunday, or for today, because today, when I'm recording this video, it is a Sunday. So yeah, like I've always said, if you're still following me with this little series, I'm so grateful. It's lovely that you're listening to me, and because I'm talking about a lot of personal things in my life. As they come up with these cards. So you know, that's not always interesting for other people. So if you have been listening, I'm really grateful for you to just be there and walk alongside me on my journey. Yeah. And I think I must have, I mean, what are we up to? 5. I've perhaps got 2 to 3 more of these videos to do, haven't I, before I get to the end of this series at the end of the year. So I do hope you'll continue to watch. And like I said, thanks so much for being there and supporting me and writing in the comments. And I'm sending you all my love, and I'll see you all again soon.